think what everything changed was the COVID. In Mexico, I was really happy. I had my own apartment, own car, solid work in terms. I was general manager for a blender company that it was producing like really good numbers in terms of Mexico.
Yeah.
But I think suddenly everything changed, and the uncertainty of not knowing to know what was going to happen tomorrow, it was for us like, okay, we are in the comfort zone. Let's just leave this comfort zone and let's do what we love the most. That it was traveling, adventure, and that's why we took this path.
Hello and welcome to the Sports Grad Podcast, the ultimate guide to make it in the sports industry. I'm your host, Nathan Peroni, and on this podcast, I chat with people in industry and find out how they got hired into dream jobs in sport. If you want to know what people are doing to break in and grow their career, make sure to follow the pod and subscribe to our newsletter for even more advice. Or if you want to give yourself a competitive advantage in the job market and put your career on a rapid new trajectory, go to our website and apply for the next cohort of the Sports Grad Method program. Here at Sports Grad, we've helped people land 854 jobs in sport, with today's shout out to Polly McKelvey-Hill, who landed a full-time role in game development team at the AFL. Having grown up in Canberra, Polly is now off to Brisbane to pursue her career in sport and support grassroots footy across Queensland. So congrats again, Polly. Now, coming up on the show today is Hector Arenas. Originally from Mexico, Hector made the bold decision to leave behind an established career and move to Australia to pursue his dream of working in sport. Since then, he's worked his way through the industry, starting in a casual events role at Melbourne Park before building a career in sports operations. Recently, Hector returned to Melbourne after being part of the team, helping prepare the FIFA World Cup 2026, the biggest sporting event in the world in his home country of Mexico. Here, Hector was the venue operations manager at the Estadio Monterrey. Hector is also a former Sports Grad member, making him a fantastic example of what can happen when you commit to a goal, back yourself, and continue putting yourself out there. So grab a pen and enjoy this chat with Hector.
Hey guys, Ruben Williams here, founder of Sports Grad. We'll be back to the episode in just a second, but I just wanted to take a moment to tell you about the Sports Grad Method program, which has been helping people land jobs at major sporting bodies in as little as 14 days and doesn't require you to take out a massive debt to get started. If you are looking to make a jump into the sports industry, but nothing seems to be working for you right now, then why not apply for the Sports Grad Method program? Inside, you'll get given a proven playbook and a one-on-one industry mentor, as well as access to the Sports Grad network, plus much, much more, all of which have helped people land over 800 roles in sport. If you're ready to back yourself and fully go after your career and not let life get away from you and wonder, what if I'd only given that a shot? Then you're the kind of person who we'd love to work with. So head to sportsgrad.com.au/program and you can apply to join us.
Hector Arenas, welcome to the Sports Grad Podcast. Buenos dias.
Buenos dias, amigo. Thank you for having me here. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
It's great to have you back. We haven't spoken for a while. I know we tried to do this before the World Cup, but basically you weren't allowed to say anything. Fair enough.
It was supposed that because of the FIFA confidentiality agreement, it's not allowed for us to have a conversation. But I was happy to hear from you when I was in Mexico. I think that it was because I was doing the things well. So
yes.
Happy to be back here in Melbourne and now having this conversation with you after the World Cup finish.
Of course. How has it been since you've come back to Melbourne? I know Melbourne's become home for you a little bit, but obviously home is Mexico. How has it been coming back to reality and not the World Cup anymore?
To be honest, I feel like home. Maybe it was a little bit frustrated when I was in Mexico that I was seeing all the things were similar when I left. Mm-hmm. So even though I enjoy to live in my country, the food, the people, even I was a little bit of time in my hometown, that is Puebla, near to Mexico City. And I feel like everything was so small. It was not somewhere where I belong in anymore. So now being back here with my wife in the apartment that we live, we make it like a house. For me, feels really good. I'm not loving that much the weather conditions, to be honest. It's really, really cold compared to Mexico. I was in Monterrey, that it was almost 40 degrees. Wow. So it was really, really hot. So to be honest, I think I have not used any of my wardrobe that I was using in Monterrey. It's a completely different one in here, but happy to be back.
And was your wife with you when you went back? to Mexico?
No,
Or she stayed
actually,
here?
this was like a last minute call. So we were
Okay.
planning to go to Mexico since last year.
Yeah.
But when FIFA came, we just decided it's just a 4 months contract. My wife already had a job in here. We have the apartment. So I said like, okay, we can go like together, but I think the best option will me to go first. Let's see really how the job will look.
Mm-hmm.
And if maybe I see that it's worth it to you to come, you can join me.
Okay.
So she was with me for 1 week
Yeah.
because we were planning to be there for a wedding of a really good friend. But when I noticed how was the job and how big the responsibility was for the World Cup, I said to her, like, it's not worth it for you to come. I will be working all the time. I'm only using the apartment like as a hotel, like just for sleeping, literally.
Yeah.
So it's better for you to come back. I will focus on the working here. And at the end, I will be back by the middle or the end of July.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, we had like this long
distance.
distance relationship, but I
Yeah.
think it was, in terms of productivity and for the FIFA, it was pretty good.
Well done navigating all of that. Like I said, it's great to see you. Now, I know you're wearing an accreditation very proudly, and you've got some pins for us. Do you want to tell the listeners what you've got?
Yeah, for sure. I'm bringing with me the accreditation that we use in the playoff tournament. So what FIFA did in this like new version of more teams, more matches, like more like let's say experiments for the people, is that they did a playoff tournament that it was previously to the World Cup. So we have in Monterrey 2 matches. That is was Suriname against Bolivia, and then the winner of that match plays against Iraq to one of the final spots for the World Cup. So during those two matches, we used this accreditation on the Monterrey Stadium. I think it was only Monterrey and Guadalajara, the venues from all the 16 that they had these 2 matches. So this is something unique. It has like the Monterrey name, FIFA pass. You have the number 1 and number 2. That number 1 is supposed to be the pitch, like area. Number 2 is like the change rooms. So you have access to those areas.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be work business as usual. So let's say that the venue, the team that normally had like all these Monterrey matches, that is the local team in Mexico, was controlling like all the operation, but still FIFA had presence on it. So we were trying just to start like giving a little bit of the touch of how it was going to be on the World Cup. For the teams was exactly as a World Cup match, like quality level. It was like same conditions, like same environment, all like these protocols were supposed to do in the same way. So this is a souvenir for sports grads. And I also bring some pins. These pins were like a souvenir for the volunteers. In Monterrey, we have around 5,000 volunteers.
Just in Monterrey?
Just in Monterrey for all the operation. That is inside the stadium and outside, that it was in the whole city. So we have the FIFA Fan Fest, where you were able to go, have like concerts, were able to watch a game if there was like in the schedule. So this is like some pins for the volunteers, a magnet also for the volunteers, and this pin that is for the Monterrey city. That is this is called a piñata. That is a really, let's say, Mexican tradition.
It looks very symbolic of Mexico.
Yeah. When you have a party or you have a birthday, you put some stuff inside, like sweets or candies or whatever you want to put inside. And it's supposedly that the person who is celebrating needs to have like this, like a stick and trying to break the piñata. So
I used to have those as a kid growing up. It must have come from Mexico, and it's in Australia and very common.
Oh, really?
For kids' birthdays to have a piñata and then hit it as well. So
maybe it's because I haven't been in a birthday party here in Australia, but
love that. And how do you pronounce it? Voluntarios?
Volunteers.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, we love the donations. They're very cool. And I'm sure Ruben will proudly have that on the wall in Sportsgrad House. So thank you again. You might have listened to a few of these podcasts. We'd like to start with some quick fire questions.
Okay.
So firstly, what inspired you to work in sport?
I think sport has been in my life since I remember. I played soccer since I was a kid. I think my first memories is me with my dad and a ball. So I play primary school, secondary school, high school soccer. I was in the representative team of my school. Then I changed to another school in Mexico. And I was trying to be in the representative team, but they didn't give me a scholarship. So I was a little bit frustrated because of that. It was, let's say, a private school. So it was a little bit like expensive for people. And I was like more focused on to have like really good grades. So I like stopped for a while my like sports environment. Then we have this really big culture about NFL, like American football in our country. So the school where I was, they have like this new team, and they were having like tryouts for new members that they want to like practice that sport. I went over there, and maybe because of my soccer conditions, they give me a scholarship for me to study like university.
Yeah, wow.
And I just changed my, let's say, sports career in soccer to the NFL. And I finished my scholarship. I finished my university. And after that, I started to study industrial engineer, or I started working in that field. However, I realized that after 10 years of experience that I was maybe not happy in what I was doing. COVID hit, it was a big change. Everything was like uncertainty. And I just decided like to take like this like leap of faith, let's say.
Yeah.
Something that I have a conversation with my wife, and I said like, let's just try to live overseas. Let's see what is the experience. In the worst scenario, Mexico will always be here, right? It's like our safe place. It's our comfort zone. So that's why I decided to change like my career path, come to Australia, study a master's in sport management. And that's why I'm here. That's why I work with FIFA. I also did some Australian Open.
Yeah.
And nowadays, I'm really happy to have like that decision in my life. But yeah, I think all life has been the sports related and like around me.
Fantastic story. We will get to how you moved across from Mexico to Australia soon. Your first ever job and your first ever sports job in your life?
My first job was working in a company that was extracting oil and gas from the underground that is called Tenaris Tamsa. I was in this global trainee program just when I graduated.
Yeah.
It was a 2 years, one in the supply chain that I was like meal scheduling planning for one of those ones. The second year was a continuous improvement like project in one of the meals. So that was my first job back, I don't know, long time ago. And my first sport job was here in Australia. After my first trimester, I got the opportunity to work in the Australian Open as an event assistant. It was supposed to be a 3 months contract role. Maybe later I can tell you what happened over there.
Of course. Your first job, I don't think I've ever heard anyone say that. Extracting oil and gas. After high school, you kind of just mentioned it. What extra study did you do exactly?
So I did industrial engineer as my university, and I had also the opportunity to do a master's in business administration. In this company that I work in my first job, my leader, he was doing the same master, so he supported me like, hey, let's see if the company can pay for you, like you have really good skills. So it was a really good value in that moment for me, because at the end it was a support for the company that I work for. So those were my like background skills in terms of what I study.
Yeah, fantastic. One interview question you were asked to answer for a job that you've been in?
Just in FIFA, I think this was one of the best questions I have heard like in all the interviews that I have.
Yeah.
Because it was the final round. I was with the venue operations headquarters, like person who was like taking the decisions if I was going to the final stage or no. And in the last round of questions, he told me, give me 2 reasons why you are the perfect match for this role, and give me 2 reasons why you are not.
Wow.
So I remember back then that I was answering for the good tourism, and I was like, I don't have any bad. Like, I don't know what to say.
That's hard. The 2 why not to hire me.
Yeah. So at the end,
What did you say? Do you
I
remember?
just said like, I don't think there is any bad or any no good reason for me to be in this spot. I'm trust of my capabilities. I'm trusting what I'm doing, and I think I'm the perfect match for the role. So that was like my final call.
Must have worked.
And I think it worked.
Was this in person? Like, were you doing these in Mexico, or
No,
were
it
you
was
online?
online. Yeah,
Yeah.
the process of the hiring, it was first like a session of questions. Like you were, I think, doing this like with AI.
Yes.
So after that, I had the first interview that was with the director of Mexico City and the director of Monterrey.
Mm-hmm.
Then I went to the headquarters that it was with Ivan, that he was in Miami.
Yep.
And the final one was with the director of the three venues of Mexico. It was Mexico City, Guadalajara, and Monterrey. So all of them were online.
A lot of processes.
A lot of process, yes.
A book or podcast recommendation that's helped your career?
I have to be honest with you. I have been really bad in my life for reading. It's not some talent that I have. However, what it changed, I think, my life was these audiobooks, because I think when they start like to be in, it was pretty easy for me to follow up.
Yeah.
I remember one of the first words that I hear here in Australia that I didn't have any idea what was the meaning was legacy. Legacy
Yes.
is something that maybe I didn't understand what was the meaning back in Mexico. So I heard this audiobook called Legacy by James Kerr that is telling you the story about the All Blacks and have like some important like leadership skills that you can use in a business but also in the sport. So I think it's a highly recommended book in terms of the career path.
Like it. Yeah, I'm not a fan of reading either, so audiobooks and podcasts come a lot easier, so you're not alone. And the last one, quick fire wise, if you could try another job in sport for a day, what would it be?
As I already mentioned, NFL is really, really big in Mexico, and I'm a really big fan. I think it's the sport number one for me. Besides, I love soccer, but NFL, I'm a really big fan.
Yeah.
And I'm a really big fan of the Pittsburgh Steelers, the team from...
Why did you choose Pittsburgh?
Back when I was playing NFL in the university, the Pittsburgh Steelers was really good at defense. The defense of the Pittsburgh was really well known. We have this player called Troy Polamalugas with the big hair, like 44 number in the back. It was like in the defense.
Yeah.
On my position back in that day was the defense. So everyone in the defense was like trying like to choose like someone like to be related to like that's why I choose the Steelers.
Like it.
So if I will have the opportunity, I will love to be in a match day as a venue operations manager for the Pittsburgh Steelers, playing at home, maybe divisional game against Ravens. That is like a match that should be like a really, really good one. I think that will be my dream job.
Like it. Have the Steelers played in Mexico before?
I think once. Now that the NFL is trying to be more global,
Yeah.
we're going to have
Are
here
you
in
going?
Melbourne.
Are you going to the game in Melbourne?
Unfortunately, I'm not going to the game in Melbourne,
No, okay.
but I would love to.
Find a job for Hector as well.
Yeah.
That's okay. Yeah, it's going to be exciting. We're recording this and it's about a month away or 3 weeks away now, the game. I'm very curious to see what the city is like at 7 in the morning when the game's at 10 in the morning.
Yeah.
It'll be lots of fun. I'm looking forward to it. We're going to jump back to some of your stories now about moving from Mexico to Australia. Growing up in Mexico, I know you mentioned your engineering background, but what did you think your career would look like? Did you even think sport was possible early on in growing up in Mexico?
I think what everything changed was the COVID. In Mexico, I was really happy. I had my own apartment, own car, like solid work in terms. I was general manager for a blender company that it was producing like really good numbers in terms of Mexico.
Yeah. Were you with your wife at the time?
I was with my wife. We were thinking about having kids, growing the family.
Yeah.
But I think suddenly everything changed, and the uncertainty of not knowing what was going to happen tomorrow, it was for us like, okay, we are in the comfort zone. Let's just leave this comfort zone and let's do what we love the most. That it was traveling, adventure, and that's why we took this path. But to be honest, I don't know how my life will be after these 2 years if I will be in Mexico. I just think maybe it will be the same in the comfort zone, having the same job, and maybe not doing what I love the most.
I know COVID was a challenge for everyone around the world. Melbourne, very well known as being locked down the most. Was it like that in Mexico at the time, or like what was the environment like during COVID?
I think Mexico was really soft with COVID.
Yeah.
I know that here in Australia was really tough in terms like you were not able to go out. Like in Mexico was not the same. Actually, I was going to the office some days. I was working online during that time. I got my job, but there were a lot of people that were fired because the business were trying to survive. Meanwhile, there was like this uncertainty. Um, we have a lot of areas in Mexico, like Tulum, that it was open, so it was always full of tourists. Meanwhile, the COVID was happening, so it was a little bit like not, let's say, the best approach for Mexico to take in this global pandemic.
Yeah.
But for me, my family, my loved ones, I mean, thankfully nothing happened. So we were just trying to follow all the rules
Yeah.
and just trying to avoid to be exposed during that time.
Yeah, awesome. In terms of sport opportunities, before we come to Australia, is there a lot of opportunities for people to work in sport? Of course, the Liga MX is big from a football perspective. NFL play a little bit there now, but like, what are some of the main opportunities you have to work in sport in Mexico besides a major event like the World Cup?
Yeah, I think there are opportunities. However, in Mexico, I think the issue about those spots in the sports is more about networking and who do you know.
Yeah.
Because if you're just like a recent graduate guy that you want just to knock the door, it will be maybe really hard to find a way. It's also not that big. I think sports is a market that is really small, like everywhere, but it's more about the people you know and the connections. However, there are opportunities like in La Liga MX, that is the one that is making a lot of money and it has a lot of participation. It's the number one sport in Mexico, so everyone is into the sport. One that is growing a lot, that is the female Liga. This also have been growing. Now it has like more participation, more broadcasting. There's like more investment in that one that before it was not before. I think that's because we have like this tendency of the US that is really big in the US compared to what is Mexico now, and I think we want to reach to that part. But to be honest, everything is around the Mexico national team. All the money, all the opportunities, everything that is because of the Mexico national team is where you can maybe find a job or in a spot over there.
Cool. You obviously make the move and come to Australia. How difficult was the decision to, I guess, start again, new industry, new country, and what were some of the biggest challenges you had when you landed here?
I think the decision was really easy. To be honest, it was not hard for me to just leave everything, like sold everything, to be honest. But I think because of that decision and like the really compromise of coming here and trying to do the best as possible, because we wanted to be here to have a better life, to have maybe the same life that we had in Mexico, because we were not like any students or any younger anymore. So the decision was really easy. However, yeah, we had some challenges that you don't know anyone. It was a different language, even though I was and my wife, we both speak English. We never like were like living in a country where we was like the main language.
Did you learn a lot of English? Is it common in Mexico? Like English in school is common to learn?
It's common.
Yeah.
In Mexico, we have like the public school and the private one. To be honest, the level in the public one is not that good. I was there until I was 15 years old. And I needed to study in another like private English school just for 1 year, like to have a better level. And then when I moved to the private school, I had a good level, but I was not, let's say, one of the best. There were people that they have better skills. However, because of the presence of the United States, a lot of people in the north of Mexico is really good with English. In the south, not that much.
Okay. Yeah. And then when you come here, is it hard? I mean, you mentioned a word like legacy, right? And I wouldn't even think that that's something that's not known in Spanish or Mexican. And then I think of all these other words that we would say as Australians that you would probably think, what the hell are they saying?
And you can also include the accent, right?
Yes,
Because it's really, really different. So it was also at the beginning for me something that I was like trying to struggle. Then obviously you start like listening the same words and you start like to familiarize with. But yeah, I think those ones, even we booked this Airbnb for 2 weeks when we arrived. That it was, I remember, on Chapel Street. So we were trying to find for this apartment for living.
Yeah.
And I remember we visit around maybe 40 different like lease opportunities. That it was pretty weird for me coming, open the door and seeing people inside. Like it's not something common in Mexico. Like you try directly with the person who is like leasing, and in here you just send an application and you just hope that someone will like wanted you. Imagine for those 40 that we apply, only one accepted us. That it was maybe not the best place, maybe not the place that we wanted,
Yeah.
but in that moment we said like, okay, we don't have any background. Maybe people in here they don't trust in people who just arrive. Let's do a good like background, then we can move. And now I think we're in the place that we really want to live, that we call it home.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think at the beginning those were like the biggest challenges.
Yeah. What were some of the skills from your obviously your career in engineering that helped you once you entered into sport, or were like some of the things you were saying in interviews? This is what I can bring.
I think the knowledge of industrial engineer, of continuous improvement, do more with less, optimizing resources, minimizing risks, maximizing times of production, all those things that I have in my previous works, they are also matching with the sports industry, because at the end is a business and everyone wants to have like the best outcome. So I think all those things have made me a good also like offer in the sports industry. Also, I think that is something that is really particular with me. I'm always trying to see the things like in the positive way. Always bring like a smile in the room, like having like a good sense of how to treat the people. Uh, Sometimes they say like the smiley guy. That's how they call me during the AO. That's how they call me during the FIFA. And it's like, okay, maybe that's how I am. Like that's my personality, but I think I'm authentic. And I think that's
Muy
also
feliz.
muy feliz. And that's also helping because you are recognized. And it helps when you are in a teamwork that someone is like that, because it can bring something to the table that is different to the others.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with that. I remember even you just walking in today, like you've always got a good vibe and happy. So that's a good thing. You just mentioned AO. So that was your first sports role, casual event assistant at the Australian Open. How did the opportunity land? Like, how did you find it? And then what happened that you said it was, I think, 3 months? 3 months?
Yeah. So this is really like I have a good mentor in the university when I was studying Deakin. That it was Scott Field.
Yes.
He really helped all the students trying to they reach as many opportunities as possible. So I remember I received this email from Scott that it was in not only for me, with other students, like, hey guys, there is this opportunity. I know this person of the Australian Open. If you guys are interested, you just apply. And I remember one of the things that it was like my mantra since I arrived here to Melbourne, it was say yes to everything. It's like no matter what opportunity will come, if it's a volunteer opportunity, it's a job opportunity, doesn't matter what is coming, that's how you start growing your network, right? So yeah, I apply. I remember back in that moment, I was already working in another job that it was on CBD doing something about trade market, that it was nothing related to the sport, but it was a job that I needed to have an income at the moment. And I also applied for a program officer, MSAC, that is the aquatic, that is in Melbourne Park. So I already have those opportunities, and I remember having a chat with Scott, and I said like, but I'm applying. I just wanted to be in the Australian Open, right? It's like the biggest event in Australia, and I said like, I applying to Spark, I'm applying to Tennis Australia,
Yes.
now I'm applying to Melbourne Park. So I said to Scott like, what do you think is the best? Or what is the difference between the three of them? I didn't know what was it. And because of that conversation, Scott told me, I think the best spot for you is Melbourne Park. So when I received the offer, in that moment, I already have the 2 jobs and the new 3 of the Australian Open. I just decided to go with Melbourne Park. That it was the opportunity that Scott shared with me. And it was supposed to be that, just a contract from November to February. 3 months during the AO. I started, and maybe because of my performance, or maybe because I was doing there, or because of the experience that I already have, I was able to stay with Melbourne Park all year round. And at the end, I met with them 3 Australian Opens.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's such great advice, though, from Scott too. I mean, I don't blame you, and there's probably people that live in Melbourne that don't know the difference of why Spark, Tennis Australia, and Melbourne Park, and how they all differ. Did you get any other offers from Spark or Tennis Australia?
Yeah. I mean, for the first AO, I received the opportunity to work with the three. So
all three, okay.
I remember when I went for receiving my accreditation, they told me, but you have accreditation with Tennis Australia, Spark, and Melbourne Park. And I was like, is that okay? Or I'm doing something wrong? I don't understand how it works.
Yes,
you know?
yeah.
In Mexico, you don't have like these contract roles or casual. It's really hard. You have like all year round contracts sometimes.
Yeah.
So for me, it was something new. And
How long was this too after you landed? So when did you land in Australia?
I arrived here in July of 2023.
Yeah.
That is 3 years already ago.
And then you got this job like 4 months later?
Yeah, on November of the
2023
for the AO 24. I remember that when I arrived, even for me, it was like, I'm doing a master's in Australia. You know, it's like, I don't know how hard it's going to be. And thankfully, I was having the support of my wife. And she said, like, don't worry. Just focus on your master's of the first trimester. I will focus on bringing some money to the house. Then after the first semester, I said, like, okay, I think it's hard, but I can do it.
Yeah.
But then I will have like, I think it was 4 or 5 months like of break. Because you finish around October and then you're coming back until March. And I want to say, I need to do something, right? That's how I landed those 2 jobs. And that's why I applied for the Australian Open.
That makes sense. Great journey. Do you have a favourite moment from being at Australian Open over the 3 years, or like a favourite memory?
Oof. I think every time that I try to think in a favorite moment, and I think I said the same quotation when I was working now in FIFA. I think it's more about the people you connect. Obviously, I remember I was like in this hall when you have like the segregation of the players in one and the staff in another one, and you see like Djokovic, Alcaraz, Sabalenka, and you're just like, wow, like these are the people who are like in the finals, right? Like it's amazing, but it's about knowing people that you take as a friend or as a good colleague during the way. So for example, nowadays, I think my best friend here in Australia is one person who works in the Australian Open in Melbourne Park. And those connections of the people, I think, is for me always the highlights. Like, you are coming there to work. Obviously, you cannot be friends with everyone, and not with all the people will get along. But with those that you have a connection and you can have a friend, maybe for the rest of your life, or as long as the time will like take you, I think those are like the highlights.
Love that. Who's the person? Do you want to give them a shout out?
Warren Antwick. He's the infrastructure project manager for the Australian Open. He works in Melbourne Park. He also oversees some of the capital works that they are ongoing. Yeah, he was one also of my first leaders. I remember when I arrived there, he's doing all these hand-back walks with Tennis Australia team before the AO starts, just for understanding how is the condition of the venue before Tennis Australia arrives, and they start like to deploying all the things that are going to be during the AO. So I remember I was with him with this iPad, like just dropping pins, map, showing like everything. I remember I walked through maybe all the doors of the precinct in Melbourne Park. I know Rod Laver, Margaret Court, John Kane, like almost all the doors, just checking how was before, conditions after, and I think Warren was really helpful in that moment. Like he showed me how to do it, everything, and he was like really good at it and a really good friend. Yeah.
Shout out to Warren. The other one I want to speak to when you landed is, well, I guess how we met too, which was you joined Sportsgrad. You were a member of the community. And I think the first time, we met would have been at one of the networking events. And I must say, I hadn't seen any Mexicans that were members of Sportsgrad at the time. Do you want to maybe tell us how you found Sportsgrad and then how helpful that was for you as well, trying to build a network early on?
Yeah, for sure. I think Deakin has a lot of impact about sports grads. I remember even when I was in my first trimester, almost all the classes were starting with this slide. Like, hey guys, if you are interested in sports, if you want to explore and have a network of people that are in the same environment as you, go with sports grad. So I remember I was trying to apply, I think, since the first moment, but I didn't receive like any feedback. It was like, is it real? Because I don't know, like anyone is answered to me. I was trying to that back in that day, trying to contact Ryan or Ruben,
Yep.
and I was not hearing from anything. And I think in that moment they didn't have like more openings. So it was like took me a while. I think it was until 2 or 3 months after that I was able to apply. And I remember that I did with a couple of friends from the university. With I think Heating also applied. Like a lot of people were like really interested, and it was just about that, like growing your network, like to have this exposure for me, like you mentioned, being Mexican and this like environment, not knowing maybe anyone from the sports industry here in Melbourne. It was really good because I started to know people like you, like Ruben, like other colleagues that it's just regular people who works in the sports. There's nothing different. They have their own paths. They have each one do different things, but at the end, it's people that can give you good advice, that they know you, and like I mentioned, this career path is really, let's say, in terms of connections, the people that you know that in the day of tomorrow can help you or good at give you good recommendations and tell you, yeah, I know Hector or I know Nate or I know Ruben. He's a really good person. He did this. He has working here. He's professional. He's authentic. He's this person, and they will tell you, okay, let's give it a call and let's see if he wants to do this or he wants to do that. So I think what the sports grad is doing, and I think is really helpful for people that is here in Australia, is growing that connection, giving the skills to have like this exposure in terms like improving the resume, using LinkedIn, see how things are right now in the market, and at the end landing that sports opportunity for the first time, maybe that is a really really good like shortcut in terms like all the rest of the people maybe is doing it without being in this like network. Yeah.
It's a fantastic point, and I'm glad you've been able to reap the benefits of it. And again, like you speak to connection and referring people, this podcast would never have happened if we never met and through the community and stayed in touch. And I think it's the beauty of it that we can all go into our own fields and find jobs, and then we stay connected. So maybe we'll work together one day. Who knows, Hector? You mentioned networking's played a huge role in your career, sliding door moments and the like, and building the network. Was there a specific person or conversation that changed your trajectory in your career? Maybe Scott, like you just mentioned, or Warren, but do you have maybe some advice or pointers these people have given to you as well that's really helped you out?
Yeah, I think something that really changed my career, it was this conversation with Julian Knott, that it was the director of the Australian Open. I remember having a conversation with Jess and Lisa. Jess was like my manager. Lisa was the senior manager for the AO. After 2 months that I was working with them, like in this 3 months role contract, just trying to explaining to them that I really wanted to continue with the team. That I knew it was only 3 months, but if there was like this opportunity for me to continue, And I think I didn't receive the feedback that I wanted. And that's why maybe I went directly with Julian, that was the director. And I was trying to reach him, but he was the businessman in the room. He was like going through the AO in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I give him like this quote, like, if the mountain is not going to the man should go to the mountain, or something like that.
Okay, yeah.
And he said, like, you know what? Though that quote really, really liked me. Come, let's have a seat. Let's have a chat. What do you do? What are you doing here? I said, like, explain.
Yeah.
I'm from Mexico. I'm doing a master in sports administration. I cannot work because I have these working restrictions because of my visa, but I can do this. And he said, like, okay, we will figure out. If you want to stay, you're going to stay. Come and work the hours that you can work, and you're going to stay with us. So I think because of that conversation and me trying, like, to really pursue what I wanted, that it was to be there, I think it really changed to maybe only being 3 months in the Australian Open and then figure out what to do next, and maybe doing something different, or maybe just said, like, maybe it was not something that I like it, and then maybe I should continue to doing the other job that it was not in the sports related, and maybe to have another opportunity in the sports it was not going to come. Who knows, right? Like, but at the end, I think that conversation took me to stay in the role and do the other two AOs with the team.
And well done for pushing for the feedback and trying to fight for yourself. Some people would just stop.
Yeah.
So credit to you and well done. The last one on the networking side specifically before getting to the World Cup. If you arrived in Australia tomorrow, no sports industry network, what would you do in your first months? And would you change much about how you did it yourself when you first came to Australia?
I don't think I would change anything because it took me to where I am right now, but maybe just try more exposure, trying local clubs, trying networking like sports grad, trying to maybe go to sports events, knowing people, apply to volunteer, all the same things that maybe I did when I just landed here. I think exactly what I do, maybe just a little bit more on pressure to try to improve it. But at the end, I think the way how I did it took me to have the sports opportunities that I had right now.
Yeah. And you've done a great job. So look at you now.
Gracias, amigo.
Obviously, like I said, you've just come off working at the FIFA World Cup. You mentioned a little bit before around how the interview process worked and how it came about. Where did you initially find the role? Like, had someone messaged you or tapped you on the shoulder through networks, or was it just you just found it online somewhere?
It was the AO25, and when I saw that the first job opportunities were starting to be on the FIFA job like applications. But I remember back then it was almost all of them was director of this, director of that. So I applied to one that it was the venue director of one of the 16 host cities that we were going to be.
In Mexico or not?
I just applied directly to the FIFA job.
Okay.
So
it could have been anyone.
It could be anywhere.
Yeah.
Obviously, when you apply, they give you, if you have like visa where you can work, if you can like suggest anyone. And I have a call from the People and Culture in Mexico. And they give me like this 1 hour interview, one-on-one online. I thought it was pretty good. And then they called me and told me, you're fantastic. You really have good experience. However, we need someone with more experience for this job. Someone who had worked before in FIFA.
Was that interview in Mexican?
Yeah, in Spanish. Everything was in Spanish.
In Spanish. Sorry, not English. Yeah.
Don't worry, Mexicans. We also have our specific language. Yeah, so
you know what I mean. Yeah.
So it was in Spanish. So I was a little bit disappointed, but to be honest, really, really deep, I knew that job, it was maybe too high for me in that moment. A director of one of the venues said, like, yeah, come on. It shouldn't be for me. But at least I
it
tried.
got you in the door, I
Right?
suppose. Yeah.
So after 1 year, when I was in AO26, the same person who gave me that interview came back to me and said, like, Hector, just for letting you know that there is another role, but it's a manager one. We would like to know if you're interested to have like the process. And I said, like, of course that I'm interested. For me, in one moment, I thought that FIFA was already done, that I was not going to work over there. And that's how it happened, and it happened really fast because they wanted to have this person for the playoff tournament that it was going to start on March. Yeah. So I was still working in the AO26. I was supposed to have this travel to Sydney because there was like this Bad Bunny concert that I wanted to go. And I don't know why I didn't come to Melbourne. We needed to travel to Sydney to watch this guy. And I remember it was on the travel to this concert that I received like this calls like, you are the one. We want you here, but you need to be here on the 5th of March. And I think that was like...
Was that in January or February?
At the end of February, the concert. So literally what I did is just coming back to Melbourne, like do my login.
Pack your bag and go.
And go to Mexico.
Wow. And so was that just an email that said, congratulations, you're successful?
I received an email and I received calls from the People and Culture.
Yeah.
I received a call from the director. But for me, it was really weird because I said, like, okay, just send me the contract and I will buy my tickets. And they told me, no, you have to sign the contract when you will be on Monterrey. And I was like,
wow.
Okay.
So you have to be there in person to sign the contract?
Yeah. You cannot have a contract.
God.
So I have a call with my director. My director, she lives in Switzerland and she went to Monterrey. Obviously, she spent more time in there. She did like this almost 1 year on the road. and he told me, Hector, don't be worried. The same happened to me. I was in Switzerland. I needed to arrive to Mexico. Once I was in Mexico, I signed the contract. All should be okay. So like, okay, if you said it, I buy the tickets, I go to Mexico, and I sign the contract.
And then how many days later did you start working?
I mean,
Like a day later or
a
something?
day later. Literally, I arrived on the 4th of March
Yeah.
to Monterrey, and on the 5th of March, I was in the office signing the contract, and it was my day number 1.
Amazing. What a journey. Before we get into a bit more of the role, if we go back to a moment you mentioned to me, so you're watching Mexico at the 2022 World Cup.
Yeah.
Could you have ever imagined that 4 years later, or even at all in your home country, that you're then a staff member helping to deliver the World Cup?
To be honest, back in that moment, no. But I think I remember I made like this joke with my wife. Like, shouldn't it be funny that because me going to Australia and studying a master's, I will able to come to Mexico and work in FIFA? I think that was like one of the things that we just say like, nah, that's not going to happen. Like, and it happened. It's like, yeah. I was able to be a fan in FIFA in 2018. That for me like changed my life because I met my wife, and it was my first World Cup. Then I did Qatar 2022. That I was with my friends, and it was also really really good. And I think it was the first time that I was trying to see how I was saying, oh come on, like that shouldn't be like that. Maybe there is a room for improvement in how to do those things or doing those things, but never mind to work on FIFA. And yeah, like now that I did, I can tell you it was like the dream job. Like even I remember when I had this chat with Warren, my friend, that I said like, that I'm going to FIFA. He said like, but you remember that you were telling me the same at the beginning, that it will be nice that maybe you will go over there and work. So yeah, it happened.
Amazing. Tell us what your role was throughout the tournament, and then what did a typical match day look like? Maybe also comparing the playoff games versus actual World Cup games too.
So for me, venue manager is like this orchestra director. He's not playing any instrument, but at the end, is doing that all the people is doing in the correct way for having all together. So more or less, that was my job. We were in charge that all the FA leads. FA is functional area. We had like broadcasting, competitions, fan operations, around maybe 20 different ones that were working together in each specific like project to develop the World Cup. So we were having like this venue daily meeting, and we were like performing like a slide presentation showing like how was the forecast, weather conditions, what was in the daily run sheet, that it was minute by minute of what was going to happen the next day in the venue. I was in charge, and everything that it was inside the stadium. Literally, there were another roles like transport or whole city that they were more in charge of what was going to happen outside of the stadium.
Yeah.
But our role was just to be sure that all the things that were going to be inside the stadium were going to be on time, safe, and running smoothly, right? If there was any issue, going with the FA, trying to see how to solve it, trying to solve everything internally, because it was easier to connect people inside the Monterrey Stadium than going maybe to the headquarters in Miami asking for something that maybe they were not inside, that they were not able to have a solution in a couple of hours. Maybe it was going to happen in a couple of days.
Yeah.
So that was like the main job that I was doing. On a match day, we start everything 6 hours preview the kickoff. So you were supposed to be in the stadium. We have the same match daily meeting. We were trying to give like some really nice and calm words in order like everything is going to be okay. Like really positive attitude, seeing all the people on that room, like really getting along and like motivate people. That is what is a passion. Like,
was there concerns that something would go wrong, or security or other problems? That's why
I mean,
it was like
to
everything's
be
gonna
honest,
okay.
we have a really big gap for our first match in the World Cup. Between security and access, we missed to have almost 200 staff people in the gates. So it was a little bit chaotic. Hopefully nothing happened, but there was also room from improvement,
Yeah.
right? Match 2, it was one day before that match. We were supposed to perform the match 1000 of the World Cup. So we were going to have the presence of Infantino, the princess of Japan, really good like people, and it was like this big like rain tournament one day before, so everything was like really like underwater, like really,
Yes.
really, really bad. So it was a long day, a long night. Everyone was trying to do as much as possible. So I remember to see everyone in the venue daily meeting the other day was like everyone was like completely like tired, and even though knowing that everyone was doing the best for taking like the match, and after that second match everything was running so smoothly, like we were ready to have maybe 10 more matches. Unfortunately we only had 4, but the team was really, really good, and I think that was the main goal of being in the venue operations team during the non-match day, trying to put all the things together, and in match day just be a support to all the FAs. Whatever was needed, whatever something was requested, just be with them and be present to stay calm and give a proper solution of the things.
When obviously you're there for 6 months, do you have an office that if you work, you're working at the stadium, or are you working at another building?
We were in the stadium.
You were, okay.
So all the FA leads that were like important for an operation in the stadium, we work in there.
Yeah.
For example, transport, it has their own compound, broadcast compound, technical services and power like infrastructure, they have their own compound. But all the other FAs like competition, venue operations, catering, hospitality, we were on site.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. And when matches are happening, did you have many opportunities to actually sit there for a minute or stand for a minute and actually watch a match or absorb what was going on? Or was it hard because you've always got to be doing something or managing something?
To be honest, you were always on the radio. So you were always like just looking around what was happening. The operation was like the main headquarters of the operation was on the SOC. That it was the security office control when everything was happening. The director of the venue was there. And she gave me the freedom for me to be outside of the SOC. It was supposed that also venue operations manager should be there. But I was more like on site, like going to see if there was an issue, just going there and see if everything was okay. Even if it was not involved, just to see if the operation was running smoothly. So I think that freedom for me was really nice because I was be able to be part of all the phase at the same time. I was able to be on the pitch. I was able to be in one of the gates. I was able to be in the service tunnel, watching like the ceremonies guys going, because also changed the ceremony in FIFA for this
with the big
World
flags,
Cup with the big flags.
Yeah.
So everything was nice in terms of the experience, but also with responsibility to see like, okay, we're going to do this, and this is the run sheet, and according to the times that we want to do, everything needed to happen on that moment. So you were just like overseeing that everything was really happening.
Was there ever something that went wrong on the day that you can remember that you then solved and it was okay?
I mean, we had so many issues on the first match, to be honest. Like,
What was
nothing really happened in terms like that. Maybe will for a fan to know that or to see that it was an issue.
Was this World Cup match or the playoff?
The World Cup match.
Yeah.
So first match, it was Tunisia against Sweden. It was the first match that we had. And I remember, for example, one of the gates for the media. The media, they have their own broadcast, and they were supposed to go to one of the gates to go to the media center. It was in the upper part of the stadium, so where everyone like can be there. And I think that gate was supposed to open kickoff -4, and it was already kickoff -2, and that gate was still closed. So like these people is bringing like these big cameras and the equipment. It was supposed the easy access for them, and they needed to go all the way around of the stadium just to find an open gate and then coming back. Those were the things that we were trying to solve in terms like to doing easier for the team. The other one is one of the entrance. We have 4 entrances for the fans, and we have like these metal arcs that it was before we have a soft check, and when all the people were supposed to see if you have the ticket, then you go to the arc. If there is something, they need to check on you, and then you will also need to scan your ticket at the gates of the stadium, right? So it's like
I
a
remember doing that.
triple check just to confirm that everything is okay.
Yeah.
But also like to avoid people to come in without the ticket closer to the stadium. On the first control check, like I mentioned to you, we missed a lot of staff. So we were understaffed. So it was also a little bit chaotic because we started to having queues, line, people that it was waiting for a little bit of time. And with the weather conditions, we didn't want to have like this hard or like when you are like really hot and you have like you don't feel
like a stroke,
yeah.
heat stroke or
Yeah,
dehydration.
So it was a little of things that I noticed a lot of people were like a little bit worried in terms like maybe they were like overwhelming.
Yes.
But I think in those moments the most important is to be calm, just give a specific directions of what to do. Unfortunately, everything was good, but it gave us a lot of room of improvement from that first match and of all these things on the debrief that we have for the second one.
Yeah, makes sense. Do you have some favorite moments from your time in the role specifically on match days that you can remember? Or even, again, I know you spoke about how much people were important to you from your memories with Australian Open. Maybe it's the people.
Yeah, I think this venue, daily meetings that we had before of the match, it was in the press conference room when normally the people was like having the interviews. We use it for our venue daily meeting. We have like the staff of the stadium, that it was the director and the manager from this Monterrey stadium, and it has the director of the venue of FIFA, that it was Marely Flores, that it was my leader. It was me, and we have the competitions manager. So the three of us, we were just going into that meeting, just telling the people what was expecting to happen today. Mm-hmm. Everyone was like raising questions, and everyone was like really into the moment. So it was a really good sensation about that one. And I remember on one of the playoff tournament matches, I was willing to take the Iraq delegation to see the first match between Suriname and Bolivia.
Yes.
And I remember I took them from outside of the stadium and I bring them inside where they were supposed to sit and watch the game. And I remember me being there with them, Stan just checking on them that everything was good. Even it was not a match of the FIFA World Cup, but it was a playoff tournament. I just was like with this good skin, like if I was in one of the matches in 2018 or 2022, just watching the stadium full with the national anthem. It was amazing. Also, the last match that was the round of 32 that we have, it was Morocco against Netherlands. It was like a movie because we had Netherlands winning all the match, then Morocco tie in the last minute. Even press conference was already on the pitch. We needed to take it out because they thought that the match was going to finish. Then we have the overtime and then the penalties. Yeah. So just being there, because I remember because of what I was doing in that moment of my role, I was on the pitch. So I was doing something else, but at the same time, obviously you are like watching the game, right? You cannot avoid to watch it.
With the Netherlands fans too, you may not have seen this because you're in the stadium. I saw all these videos of them in the streets across all the cities, and they were going like the left, right.
And we thought that they were going to be a majority during that match. Yeah. Nevertheless, the Morocco fans were more.
Okay.
in that match. And the celebration when Morocco won, it was chaotic. We normally have like the barricades of the stadium and horizontal position. So at the end or the first row of the stadium, it's not avoiding to people to watch. But for the Morocco, when they tie before the overtime, we needed to put it up because the fans were too, let's say, too excited about the celebration that we were worried that maybe they were going to jump onto the pitch. So it was.
Remind me, is Monterrey Stadium or Estadio Monterrey? Is it the stadium that has the mountain in the background, or is that Guadalajara?
No, it's that one.
It is that one.
I think it's one of the most beautiful
Yeah.
because I remember when I was
Playing FIFA on console like PlayStation, Xbox. I remember with friends, you'd see that and like that. Oh, what a cool stadium!
Oh, really? Can
Yeah,
you see it
yeah,
on the
yeah,
FIFA?
yeah.
But I don't remember some friends asking me, "Is it really true or is it like EI? Like, is it really you have a mountain and
Yeah.
like it's so beautiful? Like, I think maybe those seats are category 3 in the FIFA standards,
Yes. Yeah.
But
Best
just
seats.
having those seats over there, the landscape that you have, is amazing.
Yeah. Was it a bit sad that you didn't have Mexico play in Monterrey?
Yeah, I think we all were really sad. All the team was like, why didn't have Mexico in here,
You like play one in each city. I would
Looks like
have
it
thought,
was more about Mexico wanted to play all of them in Azteca, in Mexico City.
Yeah.
And they make them to travel at least once. And for Mexico City, it's closer to Guadalajara than Monterrey.
Okay.
It also looks like this is not true. This is something that I just heard, so I don't know if it's the main reason that Monterrey has like an issue with the Mexico national team. And I think Mexico is not playing in the Monterrey Stadium for a long, long time.
Okay.
So I don't know if there is like an issue or conflict of interest, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that is true.
Yeah.
I hardly believe that is because they choose the easy way for travel to Mexico to Guadalajara. And that's why they went over there.
Yeah. How far away is Monterrey to Mexico City? Like flying or
A flight maybe is 2.5 hours, Mexico City to Monterrey, and from Guadalajara maybe it's 1 hour.
Yeah.
So it's twice the time to going to Monterrey from Mexico City than Guadalajara.
Yeah, okay. And is Monterrey a bigger population than Guadalajara?
Yeah, I
Or
think the
the
three
same?
most important cities is Mexico City, Monterrey, and Guadalajara. I
Yeah.
think Monterrey and Guadalajara nowadays are really similar in amount of people and
Mhm.
economic growth. Obviously, Mexico City is insane, the amount of people that is living over there and
Yeah.
what it moves in such a small place, considering the land of Monterrey that is huge and Guadalajara.
Of course. I know the focus has been your work at the World Cup, but being Mexican yourself, did you have the chance to be in the street, watch the matches with other Mexicans? Did you get a chance to, once the round of 32 and the games were finished in Monterrey, go to Mexico City with the game against England, for example?
It was really funny because we had this joke, my director and myself, that even though we were in the World Cup, maybe, I don't know, maybe a meteorite will crash outside of the stadium. But if nothing is happening inside the stadium, we didn't know what was happening outside. Like we were
Yeah, okay.
so into our role during the World Cup, during those 4 matches and the planning. I think once the first match started, everything was so quickly. I think all the planning, all the things that you were doing, just you see vanish like this. And the 4 matches were done. And I was able to see Instagram videos about what was happening during Mexico City. Obviously, we saw the opening game in Azteca,
Yep.
the Mexico against South Africa, and it looked insane. Like it was like, wow, it's crazy, full capacity. All the people like throwing these hats during the previous celebration. It was looking fantastic. I remember, but I was not able like to experience as a fan, right?
Yep.
However, once the round of 32 finished, I had this conversation previously with my director and said like, how does it work? Because for me was first time experience with FIFA. After we will finish, can I go to a match? Is it better not? What are we going to do after? And thankfully, this girl has like 70 tournaments already with FIFA. She has a lot of experience. 17.
Oh,
She has
17.
already worked in the 3
Wow,
World Cups, like the big ones, Russia, Qatar, and Mexico.
that's amazing.
But she has also done
Like
under 23,
yeah.
under 17. So she has
Yeah.
a lot of experience.
Yeah.
And she told me, come on, you're in Mexico. You have to go at least to watch one match. So after the round of 32, be free, just buy tickets. And what was something really good in terms of the benefits of FIFA for us is that we were able to buy tickets in terms like, let's say, like a pre-sale, the same cost that it will be,
Okay.
but we have like this benefit just
A better chance to get
with
yeah.
our account. We were able to pick any of the matches and we have able to buy some tickets.
Good.
Obviously, there was a maximum of tickets
Yep.
and a maximum of matches that you were able to do. But with my two friends that I went to Russia and Qatar, I said like, hey guys, let's go and watch. I mean, hopefully in that moment, hopefully let's hope that Mexico will go in the first and it will go to the last match of the 5th of July
Yeah.
because it was going to be the last match in the Azteca. So we were able to buy those tickets. I buy also the flight tickets. And without knowing that it was going to be Mexico and England, I attended that match.
Wow.
And for me, it was like the best closure in terms of the whole experience. Me going to Mexico, working in FIFA, living this experience about the dream job and closing it with also having as a fan in the third World Cup that I'm attending with that match in my country was fantastic.
Yeah. It's a shame that they couldn't win.
Yeah.
But I remember watching a little bit of it in the office at work, and when the highlights back, like it seemed to be the best game of the World Cup. Just about. Yeah.
I remember I was just behind the fans of England. So you have like this goal. You have all the England's fans over there.
Yeah.
I remember when England like beat Mexico and it's finished and they start like singing all these England songs. So I was there with them just singing, hugging, like obviously sad because Mexico didn't go through the next round. But to be honest, I think for Mexico it was the perfect closure. Obviously, we would love to go to the next round. We didn't receive any goals before that match. We beat or we won all the games.
Yeah.
And suddenly we made, I think, some mistakes on that match that it was maybe the pressure, it was maybe the team in front of us. I don't know. But it's a soccer match, right? And I was really happy that after that match, a lot of the England people that was there, they were just like chilling with the Mexican, was said like, well done, congrats, giving a hug, drinking a beer, and that's it. That's a match.
I can support those points on the Mexican fans. Like I was at all the Australian matches. Obviously, we didn't have Mexico in our group. We weren't even in Mexico. We were in America and Canada. But the best fans for me and people I interacted with were Mexicans. And they were just like that, wanting to just be friendly. People like similar personalities to yourself and, the shoeies that we do in Australia. Yeah, so there was lots of Mexicans doing that for the first time afterwards at one of the games. But I think that's the beauty of the World Cup too, is that, like you said, yes, the result doesn't go someone's way, but you're all just still friendly and wanting to have a good time. So sounds like the perfect moment for you to finish.
Yeah, to be honest,
the experience.
That experience, it was like the best closure for me.
Yeah, amazing. Very, very happy for you, Hector, and well done. To finish off the pod, we have a few sort of reflective questions, but also some hypotheticals. So if you had to go back in time and someone said, I'll give you $1 million if you can land a job working in sports, in events and operations, that's your world, and you have 30 days, what would you do?
Oof, that's a good one, but I think it's similar to the one we already discussed. I will do exactly the same. I know that maybe the money is the big motivation in here, but to be honest, I was doing exactly the same because I really wanted to have this career in the sports. When I came here and I was trying to do as many volunteer jobs as possible, try to apply as many as possible, try to connect with as many people, going to all these Deakin sessions every week, spending some time in webinars, websites, study a little bit longer, going to the books, trying to reach people, having this 5 minutes conversation in the coffee with one of the professors. Like, do all that. Maybe you will not see the results in the short term, but long-term process, if you're committed for what you want, it will take you to the spot that you want.
Yeah, love that. Biggest pinch me moment working in sport?
I think for me, what I was just like it took my breath that I was like, oh, this cannot be done. Round of 32, last match is done. We finish. We normally need to wait everyone 2 more hours because we have the hospitality package and the FIFA. So the hospitality and guest services there is still working. So we're still in the sock, like waiting for everyone to leave, see if no one is drunk, see that all the people is behaving. And suddenly they said like, hey, just for you to know, guys, it comes Daniel Robles, that he was the director of the three venues, Mexico, Guadalajara. He was there for the closure. We're going to have a match between FIFA colleagues and the Monterrey Stadium colleagues on the
So
pitch.
cool.
So be ready because we're playing around 30, 40 minutes.
You didn't know about this before?
Yeah, I didn't know about this
Wow.
before. So everyone was so excited. I
That's
remember
incredible.
on that day, I think I have already walked maybe 20,000 steps on that day.
Yeah.
On match day was the craziest day of all, right? You were tired, like excited that it was the last match. And after that, we're going to have our final party. That is this final party that all the venues had on the last match. And when you have like some alcohol, like you have like food and everyone is like enjoying it. So I remember going to the beach, shorts, t-shirt. I was using one of these, the ones that the bench guys have of the match,
Yeah.
like the FIFA.
Yeah.
And we started playing. And suddenly I realized that it was the whole stadium empty. And I was playing soccer on the same pitch that it was the World Cup. And I was running like if I was just wake up 1 hour before and I didn't like perform the match that day. So I was really like, wow, this is crazy. Like I cannot believe that I'm here. I cannot believe that I'm doing this, doing something that I love all my life, that I was playing soccer and being doing it there. I think that was like so happy to do this job and to be able to be here.
Yeah, what an incredible experience.
Yeah.
How did you perform? Were you happy with your performance?
I think I was happy. I think I would be. I was a little bit rusty. I think I should continue my soccer role and don't work in and don't play in the NFL. But it was good. I mean, I was average. Let's say there were guys who were
Was
playing
there
better.
was there anyone very good?
Yeah, we have like two from the Monterrey, from the stadium. Like at the end, we were the same team, right? Like
Yeah.
it's, for example, here, Tennis Australia and Melbourne Park.
Yeah.
We have FIFA and Monterrey Stadium.
Yeah.
There were two or three that they were really, really good. But it's people that obviously they look like they were like almost going to be pros, and maybe they just decide to be in an admin role in the Monterrey Stadium.
The last one I want to ask you, I forgot to ask, was are most people speaking Spanish when you're doing the work at the venue, or do you have a mixture of English speaking people and Spanish speaking?
You know what was funny? The playoff tournament, as there was only in Guadalajara and Monterrey, looks like all the FA leads from States and Canada, for example, the main guy in broadcast, we have our manager that he was obviously Mexican. He was speaking Spanish and English.
Yeah.
But he was reporting to someone in Miami in the headquarters, right? That guy who was the FA lead came to Monterrey. So all the playoff tournament was English. We had people like from different venues that they were going to work in the World Cup just to help for the playoff tournament. Once the World Cup started, what FIFA did was trying to have all the people who was in the venue Spanish native speakers. So we have people from Brazil that even though it's Portuguese, they were speaking almost the same language.
Yeah.
We have maybe 2 or 3 roles like the pitch manager and 2 others that they need. I mean, we needed to speak in English. All our meetings and all our conversations were in English. But to be honest, the people when we were like day to day, just having a conversation, it was Spanish. So
cool.
I think that was cool because I love English, but I always think that when I speak in Spanish, I have a different way of how to say things, how to approach people that maybe I haven't like
You have more confidence.
perfection else like now in English.
Yeah.
So I think that was good because in order to perform my role and to have this connection with the people was really good to have native Spanish speakers.
Of course. That's great. What do you think your life would look like if you didn't pursue a career in sport?
I will be in Mexico, maybe with, I don't know, the same house or a better house, the same car, the better or better job, but not following my dream. Being in this comfort zone that maybe will not take me to what I live right now with all this experience, with all this knowledge and the places that I have been, the people that I have met. And now with an expectation of knowing that what I have done and the role that I did in FIFA, I was able to do it in the professional and best way possible. So for me, what is next? I'm not afraid and I'm not worried because I know that whatever will come, I think I'm pretty confident of myself that I will do it in the best way possible, and it will take me to just growing myself.
Amazing. And the last one, I haven't done a podcast for a while, so I'm a bit behind in how I was doing this quite well with a question from the last guest that I'd ask you. So I do apologize, but what is one question you would like to leave for our next guest on the show?
I think a good question will be, which has been the best or biggest sport event which he or she has attended?
Yeah.
And also maybe complementing the same one, which is still in the bucket list that they haven't been able to attend and they would love to go. I think
Like that.
that's a good one.
I haven't got a question for you, so do you want to answer it?
Okay.
Yeah. Do you want to answer that question whilst we're here? Like what?
Okay.
Yeah. What is the best that you have attended, and what's on the bucket list?
I think the best for it has been FIFA World Cup. I remember the Russia one, Mexico against Brazil in Samara. I remember I had tickets for another match that it was supposed to be Russia against Spain in Moscow, and I was able to sold those tickets for me to take a bus of maybe like 20 hours for going to Samara.
20
It was
hours.
like in the middle of nowhere. That bus was without air conditioning. It was like something completely crazy. Bus full of Mexicans, obviously, because everyone was trying to watch that match. Yeah, but I think when I heard the national anthem of Mexico, it was the first time I was watching a Mexico match in the World Cup. I just started crying. It was like good scheme. I was like so happy, so excited about that. So I think that has been like the biggest event that I have been
Incredible.
because of the emotional one.
Yeah. And bucket list? What's to go?
Oof, I think Super Bowl. I think that is still something that I would love to attend. I think that is something that hopefully once in a lifetime I will be able to attend. Hopefully with my Steelers as a team playing in that match. But yeah, I think the Super Bowl is still one that is in the bucket list.
Like it. Hector, it's been great to catch up. I've really enjoyed just getting to hear how life has been for you. I know when we probably spoke at the Sports Grad event and in passing since, it's been smaller conversations, but to hear your journey and how you've settled in so well to Melbourne and to Australia is great to hear. And the World Cup journey, from a Sports Grad member to doing that is remarkable. So hopefully we see you at more World Cups to come. And I'll know who to call if I ever need to go to Mexico. I'll be knocking down your door. So, muchas gracias, amigo. Hasta luego. And thanks again.
Thanks to you, amigo. Hopefully you will be coming to Mexico soon. Anytime that you would love to go to Mexico, and anyone in the podcast or people who will listen to us, Mexico is always welcome. You guys, my house, mi casa es tu casa. Y muchas gracias.
Thanks, Hector.
Thank you, amigo.